Hey, what's going on? It's Tafty from Tafty's Home for Wayward Guitars. A little bit of a wrench thrown into my works today. There's no power in my building. I mean, I have lights, but I have no outlets and none of my power tools are working. I'm one of the lucky ones. Some people have no power at all. So, welcome to the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020, Unofficial. I believe this is part 6. Sorry, part 6. They're all starting to blend. Last week we got the neck into this state, so this week with no power I'm going to go ahead and finish this by hand, and we're probably going to fret it also. The only thing I won't be able to do is drill the tuner holes out. Well, I mean, I can if I want to use my hand drill. I won't be able to do position markers. No big deal. It'll be fine. Come on back. Alright, so final shaping. What does that mean? Well, I've got a little bit of a soft, what I would call a soft V in this right now. I'm kind of digging it. I don't know if I want to totally get rid of it. But I might go ahead and flatten the very center of this in the back just a tiny bit to take a little bit of that V out. Soft V's are super comfortable to me. But it's not everybody's cup of tea. So, we'll clear that up a bit. We'll get a little deeper into these contours. We'll get these finished out. We'll get the big scratch marks out of it that the Dragon Rasp and the Shinto left. I really want to get into finish next week. I want to get into finishing this. I'm going to do something I've never done before. I may change my mind before then, but if I don't change my mind, I'm going to use boiled linseed oil because I've never done it, and I've always wanted to try it. So that's a plan for today anyway. Final shaping, final sanding, and frets. That should be fun too. All right. So I'm going to use my, well, you haven't seen this one yet. Same half round file that I used last time. I really like this for the contours. Also, this file that you haven't seen yet, which is super fine. It's a single cut file. And what that means is, I'll never be able to get you to see this, but what that means is it's only got one set of grooves in one direction, as opposed to having like a cross-cut pattern like this does. Yeah, I did my best. So as far as final shaping goes, this barely takes material off. This will be great, and from this we'll get right into some probably 100 grit, maybe 150 grit paper. Yeah, let's stop talking about it and get it done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start with knocking off a little bit of this V. It won't take very long. I'm gonna try the superfine file first, and if that doesn't work well enough, we'll switch to the a little bit coarser one. That's it. That's all it took. Pretty simple. So now I'm going to get into the contours at the headstock. All I'm really trying to achieve here is just to get this thing to feel the same on both sides. I'm not trying to remove a ton of stuff because I already like the contour as is. All right. Again, that was pretty much all it took. Yeah. Nice. All right. Here we are at the heel. Let me help you out here a little bit. Yeah. You're never gonna really feel it with your hands, but you still want it to be a nice smooth contour though. All right. A little bit of work where the contour meets the heel on this side. Just where the binding meets. Yep, I like that. All right, if you remember the facet lines from the last video, you'll remember that the only one that I didn't do any work on was the one where the binding meets the neck. And that's what I'm doing now. Just kind of smoothing that over. I am just about where I want it. Yep. I like that. All right. So I'm gonna get some 60, maybe 80 grit, whatever I got over there for sandpaper, and I'm gonna start attacking all this up at the heel and at the headstock, just to kind of smooth out the lines from the files. All right. First round of sanding. So I've got these sanding pads. Whoa, there they are. I've got a whole bunch of different ones, different shapes. This one's really good for getting into tight corners, as you can well imagine. I'm going to use this round one with some 100 grit paper just wrapped around it. And I hold it with my fingers. I would really love to use my spindle sander right now. A good transition. I like it. Feels comfy. Feels thin. So the other thing I have to consider is that I may have made this neck a little bit thinner than I was hoping for by knocking off that V. No, I did not. Nope. 0.88. We're good. So now let's attack the heel. Let's get that smoothed out. Why don't you guys come in closer? There, now isn't that better? I'm a mess. My plan next week is to have 2 iPads, no waiting, and I'm gonna take some B-roll shots with one of them and do my main filming with the other one, and then just airdrop the files between the 2 of them. I wanted to do that this week, but I blew it. I left it somewhere, and I left one of them somewhere. So now I'm down to 1. But I promise it'll get better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to a finer paper, probably 120, 150, somewhere around there, and just keep going until I've probably gotten up to, I might get to 220. I'll go to 220, and then I can call it from there. I'm going to go ahead and just run some sandpaper over both sides of the headstock. I have to do it in a way that you guys can see. Alright, I'm actually going to leave the sides of the headstock because I want those to be super flat, so I'm probably going to get my fret leveling beam and do it with that because it's nice and straight. Alright. Get a different grit. Yeah, just get yourself real close to some kind of a big light source, like I all of a sudden have a ton of, and just look for those scratch marks. When you find them, I've switched over to some 220 on this rubber sanding pad, and just hit those and try to knock them all out. Nice. All right. Digging that. Just finish it up with a little 220. Oop. Then throw it on the floor. Because I'm done with it. Just kidding. Not done. But I've taken the whole neck to 220. All I got is a little bit left on the face and the back of the headstock. Soften up the edges. All right. I'm going to clean this up and get ready for frets. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with some, I believe this is 320. Because this is our last chance to sand the fretboard. I actually already hit it with the 220, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the 320. And if that is smooth enough to the touch, then fretting it is our next step. That'll be fun. All right. Oh my God, yeah. Is that weird? That's not weird, right? It's probably a little weird. So now, I've got some tools out over at the bench. I'm going to clean up the bench a little bit so that it makes more sense to everybody. Get all the tools off there that I don't need. There's a lot of debate as to whether you glue in new frets. Refret, you definitely do. new frets. Some people do, some people don't. So here's the thing. I do. There's a lot of talk of vibration and tone transfer. I don't know how much of that I believe anymore after hearing Ben Crow's guitar, which really didn't have any wood left. And it sounded great. So take it or leave it. I think it probably makes more of a difference with acoustic guitars than it does with electric guitars. So the moral of the story is I use fish glue to put in my frets. The other thing that I'm going to use is something kind of cool. Everybody kind of keeps their frets in some kind of a holder like this. It's wood, has the holes drilled in it, and it's indexed, has the numbers. So mine is not unlike other people's, except our fret holder, I guess, for lack of a better term, has some history. In a past life, I was the pit boss of a competition barbecue team. And we went to the World Championships in Lynchburg, Tennessee 3 times. One of the times that we were there, the Jack Daniels people came down and they had a bunch of barrels in a truck and they were trying to get rid of the barrels. So most of the barrels actually got broken up. This is a piece of a barrel top. Yeah, used. So, and it still kind of smells like Jack. So here at Tafty's Home for Wayward Guitars, we marinate our frets in Jack Daniels. Yeah, that's right. If you're looking for pre-made mojo, I don't think it gets better than that. Anyway, that fun little story's over. Let's get into cleaning out these fret slots. All right. So I've got the slots pretty well cleaned out. So here's an issue. Originally, I had planned on doing 22 frets. But then, the way I constructed the neck, I decided to bind it and all that, I ended up with a 21 fret neck. That leaves me with this little half slot in the bottom. Yeah, that's weird. It would be my 22nd fret. That's what that slot would be. If we had done an overhanging fingerboard like I had planned on, I'll stick to the plan. Unless it's me. I believe that I'm going to go ahead and try to shape some kind of a fret to put in there. Obviously, it's not going to be playable, but I don't know, it might look kind of cool. I'm going to shape it to the binding. I'm reminded of like a classical or well, I point over there like you guys can see it, nylon string guitar that has the sound hole halfway through the fingerboard, and it has a fret on one side and a fret on the other side. This is kind of the same but opposite. It'll have a fret in the middle, but no fret on the E strings. Meh. Come on, what fun would it be if it all worked out according to plan? So this is my fret wire bender. Working with 12-inch radius fretboard, so we're going to want to bend this to about 10-ish, maybe a little more. When I say more, I mean less. Yeah, I'm going to say we want a little bit more than that. That's pretty much dead on 12. Let's try going a little more aggressive of a bend. Oh yeah. That is exactly, I don't know if you can see that from there, that's exactly a 10-inch radius. That'll do just fine. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're just going to hold the fret wire on the neck. I like to go about 1/8 of an inch over on each side and make a cut there. Cut the piece. This is for fret number 1, obviously. Here's the nut. And drop it into the slot marked number 1. Pretty straightforward. There it is. And there it goes. Marinating. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of these. You guys don't probably have to watch me do that. Dude, look at the way he cuts wire, man. That's awesome. So, here I've got my number 1 fret. All I do is throw that on, take a look. Kind of judge how much I have to nip off. And I start small because you can always cut more if you need to, like I need to. I want to cut it enough so that when I put it in and hammer it down, it's going to go from this shape to this shape. Now when it does that, the tang is going to expand, basically. And I don't want it so tight to the binding that when I hammer it in, it flares out and knocks my binding off. Or at least makes a bulge in it. That's unsightly. And that's it. Like I said, go slow with these. There's certainly better ones out there, and I'm hoping to get those soon, but these are what I got for now. Take that 3-sided file that I was talking about, run it over these fret slots just to open them up a bit at the very top. And that'll just make everything seat in a lot easier. Boy, I have been getting a lot of you guys commenting on this ziricote. And isn't it unbelievable? I don't understand why it doesn't get used more. I mean, maybe once I try to fret this thing, I'll understand. But man, it's a gorgeous fretboard. All right. Now, if anybody's wondering what this fish glue is like, it's a lot like hide glue. It's an animal protein glue. The difference being it's got a little bit longer of a shelf life and a little bit more open time than hide glue. I like it. I use it for anything that you would normally use hide glue for. All right. So we pipette the glue into the slot. Just like so. Hopefully you can see that. I like to take a little water. Kind of wipe it. Just like so. Then, of course, got to use a neck caul. One end, the other end. Let's make sure we're going in straight. On the middle. One. So if you guys can see that. Again, I like to nail in one side, nail in the other side, then boom, hit the middle, and let those tangs spread out sideways. So, our faux fret at the 22nd position. I might have changed my mind a bit on that. I think what I'm going to have to do is cut it almost full size. Yeah. Cut a whole bunch of tang off of it. That's why I always buy extra. This has got a little whoopty to it too. That's better. Well, only got myself to blame. I think that'll work. Now we'll just trim these up. I'm not going to do that last one yet. That's going to take some fancy trimming. Oh, there it is. Frets installed. All right. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. National Grid is here, so I'm probably going to lose power any second, what little power I have left. So, fretted, shaped, sanded, we're ready to go. Next week, definitely finish. It's something that I really, wow, I got some weird shadow going on here. I'm losing things as we speak. So, next week, definitely finish. So, that'll be fun. Thank you once again. Please, the comments are awesome. If you want to talk about ziricote, we can do that. Thank you so much for being so cool. Please like and subscribe, and ring the bell. If I got, did we find? I don't know if I have a bell. Did we find out if I have a bell? I think I do. If I do, use it. Oh, that was demanding of me. So yes, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.